So this is how you get from ghost town to ghost town in far southwestern Oklahoma. These were once considered major thoroughfares, I guess. Highways almost, back in the teens, 20s, and 30s. They're now pretty frightening. Let's go ahead and last known photo. Now we'll see if we can find this place. If no one ever hears from us again and they find this video, we died doing what we loved, being axed to death by a maniac. Okay. It's getting soft and sandy and getting pretty high centered here. So we're just going to get out and check our ground clearance. See how we're looking. It is barely making it. All right. Let's see what we come up with. Whether we go back or whether we continue on. Hey guys, Tim Moses here. I'm going to do a little voiceover on this because actually I forgot to turn on the microphone on the camera, so the audio was pretty much non-existent on this. This is the Ron School you're looking at. We came out here kind of looking for this place. It's in a really remote area in, I believe it's Harmon County, Oklahoma. And it's off on its own little beat-up road out in the middle of nowhere. It's several miles from the nearest highway. That's Jim Jordan, a friend of mine that often assists me on these ghost town hunts. And what we're looking at here in the school building is, I believe that's the bathroom area there. You can tell by the vent pipes in the floor. Here is the library. And we were just kind of guessing by the evidence we saw, but this was the largest room besides the gym, and we believe it was the library because it had chalkboards and things pinned to the wall that were probably bookcases. And the Ron School was never attached to a town of Ron. It was more like a community. It had a big cotton gin in it, and there were a handful of houses in the area, with employees that served the cotton gin. There were 4 different school districts in Harmon County that were very, very small, and as people moved from the area in the late 1930s, as roads and transportation improved, they consolidated those school districts into one and built the Ron School in 1939. It was one of the largest consolidated schools I've ever seen out in the country, in the rural areas. As you can see here, this is the main entrance in. The impressions in the wall there are probably bulletin boards, and this is the school office. You can see the remains of the vault. And tell you what, if there was a storm out there right now, and I lived out there and didn't have a storm shelter, I would run to the school and go into that vault. It's probably the safest place out there. As you can see in some of the shots, I mean, the concrete walls are darn near a foot thick. And there's the view from the office into the library again. You can see the impressions in the wall. There's actually wood embedded in those little grooves in the wall, and that's where they would have mounted like the chalkboards and things. You can see this marking here, which is probably where the lockers were. Obviously, the walls had been painted red and white. I guess that was the school colors at the time. And it's just amazing. I mean, the walls remain, but everything else is completely gone. Now, I had heard that the school was hit by a tornado, I think a direct hit, the year after it closed. It closed in 1964. And pretty much that destroyed everything, yeah, but left the walls because it was just these reinforced concrete walls that just were impervious to the tornado. and these long hallways. The hallways just seemed to go on and on forever here, and it just had multiple classrooms. I'd never seen a school, consolidated or otherwise, that was this large out in these remote areas like this. It was really amazing. It was like it was kind of like walking around an old Greek ruin or something, or Roman ruins, like the Colosseum or Stonehenge. I guess some of you are probably laughing at me comparing an old school in rural Oklahoma to Stonehenge, but sorry, it's just kind of what it felt like. It was kind of surreal. That's the gymnasium that you're looking at right there. Obviously, I guess it would have had a wood floor. What you're looking towards, is the stage. If I get close enough, you can see kind of the decorated impressions in the concrete, which would have been the edge of the stage. I'm sure it was all decorated and painted kind of in the Art Deco style and had curtains and everything there. The Art Deco design of this building is just incredible. It's extreme Art Deco. And down in the trough there, below where the stage would have been, you can see the locker rooms. Pretty common for older schools. My old school was like this too, where you'd have boys and girls locker rooms. You can see the entryways to them there. Go down these stairs, and the locker rooms were down below. You can see off to the right there's like a little concrete ridge, and that probably would have been the showers. But it's just crazy to see this thing out in the middle, literally in the middle of a wheat field, in the middle of nowhere in far southwest Oklahoma. That's the only damage to the walls I can see is that broken out place on the back door. And that you see that a lot. At some point years ago, a farmer probably used this for hay storage or for kind of a makeshift barn, and they knock out those doors so they can get their equipment in and out of them. So more than likely what that was for. But yeah, you're looking down into the locker rooms there. Yeah, it's pretty wild. And it's sitting there like that since 1964. But like I say, Ron, Oklahoma was never really a town. It was more like a village. Never had a newspaper, post office, or anything like that. But it was a pretty active area at the time. Those great windows. I would like to have seen what this place looked like in its heyday. And there we go. There's the outside of the building again. Just an incredible Art Deco building. You can see the planter boxes there where I'm sure they would have had flowers and shrubs. And the village of Ron would have been right down that road that we're looking towards now. Thank you guys very much for checking out the video, and we'll see you on the next one.